No empire believes it is collapsing. Not Rome, not the British Empire, not the Soviet Union. Because the most dangerous moment in the life of an empire is often the moment it feels unstoppable. History reveals a strange psychological pattern. The stronger civilizations become, the more blind they often grow. Success creates confidence. Confidence becomes superiority. Superiority becomes arrogance. And arrogance slowly disconnects empires from reality itself. By the time decline becomes visible, collapse has often already begun. Empires rarely collapse when they are weak. They collapse after periods of overwhelming success, because success changes psychology. When civilizations dominate for long enough, people begin assuming their dominance is permanent. Victories stop feeling temporary. Wealth stops feeling fragile. Power begins feeling natural, even eternal. This psychological shift is incredibly dangerous because empires stop preparing for survival and begin assuming survival is guaranteed. Warnings are dismissed. Critics are mocked. Structural weaknesses are ignored. And slowly, confidence transforms into collective delusion. At its height, Rome appeared indestructible. Its armies controlled enormous territories. Its economy dominated entire regions. Its engineering amazed the ancient world. Rome believed it represented civilization itself. But psychologically, success had begun changing Rome long before collapse arrived. Political corruption expanded. Elite competition intensified. Luxury replaced discipline. Public entertainment became distraction. And many leaders became more focused on preserving status than preserving the empire itself. Rome still looked powerful from the outside, but internally, its psychological foundations were weakening. And history shows this pattern repeatedly. Empires often decay internally long before external collapse becomes visible. Power changes perception. The more dominant an empire becomes, the less resistance it encounters. And resistance is psychologically important because resistance forces adaptation. Without resistance, leaders begin confusing temporary dominance with permanent superiority. This is where arrogance emerges, not simply as pride, but as a distortion of reality. Empires begin believing that their systems are untouchable, that their enemies are weak, that decline only happens to others. And eventually, they stop questioning themselves entirely. Historically, this mindset becomes catastrophic because civilizations that stop adapting slowly lose the ability to survive changing realities. For decades, the Soviet Union projected enormous strength, military power, political influence, global ideological control. But internally, many structural problems were growing worse. Economic inefficiency, bureaucratic stagnation, fear-driven governance, and perhaps most dangerously, a leadership system increasingly disconnected from reality. Information became filtered, failure became politically dangerous to acknowledge, and eventually, the system became trapped inside its own propaganda. This is another recurring psychological pattern of powerful empires. When leaders fear uncomfortable truths, reality itself becomes harder to see. In the final stage, arrogance becomes fragility. Empires still appear strong, but their ability to respond to reality weakens. Institutions lose trust. Leadership becomes defensive. Elites become isolated, and citizens slowly stop believing in the future. Collapse rarely feels dramatic at first. Often, it feels gradual, invisible, like a civilization slowly losing confidence in itself. And perhaps the most unsettling part of all is how often history repeats this cycle. Because human psychology changes far more slowly than technology. The names of empires change, the flags change, the weapons change, but arrogance, fear, power, and denial continue repeating across centuries. History remembers empires for their victories, but collapse often begins long before the final fall. It begins the moment power convinces civilizations that they no longer need humility, because the greatest danger to powerful empires is not always external enemies. Sometimes, it is the illusion that they have already conquered history itself. Subscribe to Empire Psychology for cinematic documentaries exploring power, collapse, leadership, and the hidden psychology behind history.